Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be doing another 2024 election scenario, and this time, this would be a historic scenario. Again, it's 2024 because this would be the first election matchup between two major party candidates with two women against each other, no male involved. So, the matchup is Kamala Harris, the current vice president under Joe Biden, of course the Democrat, versus Nikki Haley. Now, Nikki Haley is the former United Nations ambassador under former President Trump. And she will be popular because she is kind of like a Trumpian, but she represents both sides of the Republican Party. She's a Trumpian, but she kind of slammed him when he was being a complete idiot. So, she will have this kind of support between Mitt Romney conservatives and Trump and DeSantis conservatives, right? So she will really unite this party. And Kamala Harris, the vice president, she's not very popular, but she will be able to hang on to this solid Democratic support. So yeah, let's see what happens. And Kamala Harris is an African American, as we know, and Nikki Haley is not. She's just white, I guess. Kamala Harris would, of course, win her home state of California. That's important to point out that it is her home state. Nikki Haley, I see carrying her home state of South Carolina. Solid Republican states here. She will hold on to all of these comfortably. About all these. Iowa and Indiana, I will just say now, they will go to her. Nikki Haley will have this suburban appeal, especially suburban moms, because as I mentioned in my previous video with her, she will be like the safe candidate for suburban families, right? She's going to say, I will keep your kids safe, and she will win the suburban vote, I think, by wide margins, and that's going to help her a lot. With that, I do think Ohio, which is filled with suburbs, would go to Nikki Haley. I definitely think so. And I do see New Hampshire going to Nikki Haley, which will surprise you because Trump did not win it in 2016. But this is a very suburb state. And Kamala Harris, this is not an area where Kamala Harris is strong in. She will not do good in these rural regions like Nikki Haley would because, these strong conservative roots. But I think the suburban appeal from Nikki Haley rather than Kamala Harris will give her the edge in a state like New Hampshire. However, on the eastern seaboard, Maine is has too much cities like Portland. I don't see Maine going Republican. I see Kamala Harris hanging on to Minnesota, which is, a very liberal state. I see her hanging on to Virginia, too early to go Republican. But with the suburban appeal, I definitely think that Haley would win in Texas. And we do need to remember two things. People aren't going to go out to vote against Haley like they did for Biden in 2020. So many people in 2020 came out and voted against Trump, but Haley will be very popular. People aren't going to hate her because she isn't a complete Trumpian kind of candidate. I think with Ted Cruz or Ron DeSantis, people would, but Haley definitely no. So with the rural and suburban vote in Texas, I do think that it would give her the edge here. Again, this is 2024, so Texas will be up for grabs, I think, by both candidates. Of course, Haley would win Alaska. Moving on to the South. And I gave, in my previous video, I gave all of these three states to Nikki Haley, but I only see her against Kamala Harris winning North Carolina and Florida. I have to give Kamala Harris Georgia because of this strong African American vote here. I do see Harris winning in Georgia, but North Carolina, I definitely see going for Haley because there are rural and suburban regions in the state. And Florida, it keeps getting more Republican, and I don't see it in Democratic hands in 2024. I see it staying in the Republican column. Colorado and New Mexico are pretty liberal states. I see staying with Harris. I think Harris would edge out Nevada, mostly because her home state of California comes right next door, so people know who she is. Nevadans have heard of her, all of that. I did give it to Nikki Haley in the matchup against Joe Biden, but I do think that Nevada in this scenario would go to Harris because Harris comes right next door from California. She has more of an appeal here. But I do see Arizona staying in the Republican column, as I did in my previous prediction against Joe Biden, and watch that if you haven't already. But yeah, she will have a Sun Belt appeal. I think definitely enough to win Arizona. This will be a very contested election. Not like contested results, but the states, each state is going to be very close. So Harris has 245 right now. Haley has 247. And it all comes down to the Sun Belt. This is when it gets tricky. I will give Michigan to Kamala Harris because of the strong African American support, and there are many cities in Pennsylvania that I do see going for her. Wisconsin, I'll have to give to Nikki Haley. Very rural and conservative. I think Harris is a bit too liberal, plus she is an African American. Not many African Americans in the state of Wisconsin. She wouldn't really have this African American base there. So it all comes down to Pennsylvania. And I will have to give the state to Nikki Haley, and that wins her the election. I gave her the state because, sure, there are cities that would turn out heavily for Harris, but there are many suburbs and many people, many suburban moms are going to go out and vote for Nikki Haley. Plus, it's already a swing state, so it could go either way. It's much more conservative than Michigan is. It really has more of a chance of going either way than Michigan or Wisconsin. So, because of these suburbs, I do see Pennsylvania going to Nikki Haley, and that wins her the election again. So, 2024, if it's a Haley-Harris matchup, I believe that it will be 277 electoral votes for Nikki Haley and 261 for Kamala Harris. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time.